Hi, I want to talk to you about liberation consults. My name's Eric Gross, and I'm the author of the book Liberation from the Lie. And in this book, I focus really on the two issues that prevent us from living happy, fulfilled, and self-realized lives. So this video is directed by people who are struggling with persistent feelings of unhappiness, frustration, as well as those who are seeking kind of unity consciousness, a breakthrough from the shell of the suffering self. So if you're in these categories, these consultations could be for you. And let me explain the theory. And I think it's more than a theory. All of us are wounded at birth. We experience the wound of separation. When we are born and in our first year of life, we are the most vulnerable. And at that time when we are most vulnerable, we are separated from our mothers and our families, placed in our own room, our own crib, usually on the first day of our lives, the day of our birth. We are separated. And in that traumatic separation, we have the global feeling when we are most vulnerable that there's something not right from us. We've left this warm, supportive, utterly intimate world of the womb and then enter the cold, separated life outside the body of the life giver. And this global feeling of separation and not rightness, this wound story, which is just a feeling because we don't even have words to express it, as we get older, gets more articulated through thinking in words. It becomes our most personal story of who we are. The wound, that we're not right. And so this wound is extremely painful. It is literally the source of all our emotional and psychological suffering. And as we get older, when the wound begins expressing itself in words like, I'm not smart enough, or I'm not beautiful enough, or I'm not just not sufficient to the demands of life. And what happens very early in our lives is that we begin developing what I call fear selves. And each fear self is designed to somehow refute the story of the wound. So if the story of the wound is, I was separated because I'm not beautiful, we might become, as we grow up, very compulsive about fashion, about looking great, exercising, looking youthful. If the wound has a story like, I have nothing to contribute to the world, we might, as a fear self, become, the compulsive expert. Look at me. Look, I know more than anyone. My voice is very important. The fear selves tend to be, fairly grandiose, and they have a quality like, oh, I need to be this way. Now, why do you need to be that way? Well, obviously, you need to be that way because if you're not that way, then you're in the world of suffering, of the wound. And that level of that sea of suffering is never far from the surface. So anytime we have bad experiences in life, experiences that undermine the message of our fear self, what happens? Boom, we go right back into the wound experience. And what do? We call a friend, we turn the TV on, we buy a new book, we attend a spiritual retreat, we try to reinvent ourselves, and this is again another fear self coming into the rescue. Okay, this brings us back to why I do the consultations. The consultations are designed to, first of all, one, make you aware of the wound story. Really, we do this by looking at our fear selves first, and then we go deeper into the wound story itself. Because until we create a little space between our authentic being, which has no need to be anything special, has no compulsive drives, but is free of all these needs. If we're going to be that person, we have to create some space between the wound and that underlying light. And so these consultations are designed to create that space so we can really see who we are not. Because until we see who we are not, we will never experience fully who we truly are. And that's really the theory of liberation from the lie. The lie is the wound. And that lie is the one story we take most as truth. That's the great irony. What we believe in and hold on to most strongly as true is a lie. And when we unravel that lie, that knot of falseness, suddenly we are free. And that is the goal of these consultations. I've been trained formally in Navajo peacemaking. And one of the tenets of Navajo peacemaking is the necessity for catharsis. That unless you experience emotional catharsis, sustainable transformation just won't happen. And that's why conventional talk therapy, and actually even many, many years of meditation, don't work. First of all, they generally don't touch upon the underlying wound story. The wound story we don't even see, but we filter everything in life through it. So that's why our experience of life is never really truthful, because it's filtered through a lie. So talk therapy doesn't do that. Moreover, talk therapy rarely results in a catharsis. So I use these methods along most powerfully with a theory, and I've known this to be true. I know it from extensive experience. Also, the many, many people have told me how this book and these talk therapies have transformed their lives. Now, here's how it works. First of all, there's no obligation. The first session is free. Just contact me if you'd like. Tell me a little bit about yourself, and we can get it started. Or we can email a little bit back and forth about how it might work for you specifically, and then you can see, is this for me? It's really up to you. Following sessions are $50, and they can last for up to 90 minutes. In my experience, you will need very few sessions, because you'll be able to use these techniques on your own. Because I'm not an advice giver. It's not what I do. This is your life. This is your direct experiences, and this is your wound and your array of fear selves that you have created and developed that are designed to refute the wound. Remember, fear selves are brittle. They easily break. And until we untangle the knot of the wound, we're never going to be free of them. So the purpose of these consultations is to untangle that knot. So I have the information here on the YouTube video, how to contact me. I urge you, if you have any interest or dealing with persistent unhappiness, you've been meditating for years, you've been reading dozens, if not hundreds of books on Eastern philosophy, Buddhism, Advaita, even Native American traditions, contact me and see if this might be right for you. Again, as always, thank you for watching these videos, and it'd be great hearing from you. Okay, bye-bye.